Kevin Anderson was brought back on a 2-year contract yesterday. I am not here to make a big deal out of that, but I might make a big deal out of something related. Might. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Anderson appeared in 4 regular season games last season, both as a swing tackle and as a member of the special teams. He also appeared in the playoff loss in Baltimore. More relevant, he's played 50 NFL games over 5 seasons. So, he's been there. He's gotten on the field with the Broncos. He's gotten on the field with the Patriots, and he's gotten on the field at least a little bit with the Steelers. So it's not nothing. And if it was nothing, meaning if they were just bringing back somebody because whatever, he's a useful spare part that you'll eventually shove out of training camp, you don't do it with a 2-year contract. That's your strongest possible sign that the Steelers like this player, believe in this player, and what it is that he can do. I am not feeling this as some sort of significant solution to what still looms, I believe, as the Steelers' largest problem entering the 2025 NFL season. With all due respect to all the discussion and debate that we have about the quarterback position, other positions that we bring up on a regular basis, everything about this team sinks or swims with its collective offensive line performance. And when I say that, I am pointing almost entirely to the tackles. Note the plural. We're always going to be pointing fingers at Broderick Jones because of the season that he just had, and that's deserved. But Troy Fautanu has played a part of one NFL game. That was in Denver. And yes, he was fine in that part of one NFL game, so we can still think of him with pristine thoughts. But you know who else we liked as a rookie? That's right, it was Broad. And way more relevant, Broad made it through his whole rookie season, and you never heard his name really brought up. I don't know that he was praised or lauded or anything. It was just he was a rookie tackle who was asked to play out of his natural position, right side, and you just never heard a complaint about him, which made you think everything was awesome. And you know what? Maybe it was awesome. Maybe that is Broad's default mode, but we don't know that, and we don't know really anything about Fautanu without looking at college tape. And one half of football a mile high. So while I can respect bringing back Anderson, I feel like it's fair to want more. Now, what does that mean? As we've gone over many times here, as it relates to this specific subject, you can't just stroll through the downtown Target and get yourself a left tackle or even a reserve left tackle, much less a reserve swing tackle. They tend to be taken, and when they are taken, they tend to be expensive. So was this a case of the Steelers maybe wanting more in this area and seeing that everybody'd found a musical chair and seeing that Dan Moore got $82 million over 4 years from the Titans and saying, oh no, we're out of there? Maybe. Was it a case of Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, Mike Tomlin, and everybody else committing themselves yet again to yet another offensive tackle high in the upcoming draft? I doubt it. But I do think what's cemented here is that they're going to take somebody. They're going to take an offensive tackle. Sure won't be in the first round. Can't be. It sure won't be in the third round. Can't be. But after that, why not? As I see it, if you go to the candy shop and get yourself your defensive lineman, your interior guy, your next Cam Hayward or whatever, in the first round, or even if you end up doing something that I'm not foreseeing, but you get yourself a quarterback in the first round, you still are going to be looking at running back, just based on what I'm hearing from them, that's not necessarily my preference, as high as the third or fourth rounds. You've still got to be thinking about DBs, but you can do this too. You can get yourself a tackle. Obviously, it would be a young tackle. It would be somebody who'd be hungry. It'd be somebody who'd be fighting for their NFL lives. That's more what I'm thinking of here when it comes to shoring up, to bolstering what's easily the most ominous existing position on the entire roster. Oh, and hey, as long as I'm at it, there's nothing at all to prevent Spencer Anderson from being involved in this either. I mean, Spence has played all 5 now. At least he has in Latrobe, he has in scrimmages, he has in practices. He's got at least a little bit of background. He's got the build. Just put them all into this blender and see who emerges. Don't worry about who's a first rounder or whatever. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar.
Today's J1Q comes from Jeff Carr, who says, "Hey DK, what positions do you see the Steelers filling in the first and third rounds of the draft? And do you see them having any chance of getting back into the second round?" Jeff, I'm glad you broached that second part there, because it's going to make a difference. And it's telling, actually it's way more than telling, that Omar Khan brought up at the NFL annual meeting in Palm Beach last week that he would like to get into the second round. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, that pick was sent out to the Seahawks in the DK Metcalf trade. Omar does not like to leave his scouts lacking at the table in those upper rounds. That's uncomfortable territory for the Steelers, really historically. If you've never heard this before, I'll share it. Kevin Colbert used to say to anybody at the table with him, not just the draft day table, but leading up to the draft, who would suggest, well, hey, just trade this pick or trade that pick. It's just a 7th rounder. And he would come back and he would say, okay, so you would trade Brett Kiesel for that. And whoever it was that suggested something would just fall silent, because that's just, heck, one of many quality 7th rounders, but one of the best for sure that would come to mind there. I do think you'll see at the very least a strong push for the Steelers to get there. Now, leaving everything as it is, first round, third round, to answer your question, the positions that I see getting filled, and I hinted at the one in the opening segment, and that's the interior defensive linemen. I just get such a sense from them that in addition to everybody loving this class, everybody saying that this is the time to go shopping for this position, one of those kind of like when people talk about wide receivers in way more drafts than not, it's just you can watch them get plucked away and not worry, because there's still going to be one for you by the time it's your turn. Heck, we heard it 2 years ago about offensive tackle, and yet the Steelers still felt compelled to trade up to ensure that they would get Broderick Jones. And by the way, I could even see a scenario like that occurring. Of the other 2 positions that we talk about most often, I'm just not feeling the quarterback in the first round. And I don't know, running back. And if Ashton Jeanty falls, that'd be a minor miracle, but the most common sentiment about Jeanty is that he's going to end up with the Raiders, who are picking 6th overall, so just forget that. Which leaves us with the third round, and that's where I'm thinking about a running back. That's where I'm thinking you can still find value at the position. You're not taking nearly as big a draft risk. Teams do not like to take short-term players, and most running backs are short-term players in the high rounds. The Steelers couldn't get Najee Harris to a second contract. And within that, they felt comfortable replacing Harris with an undrafted running back in Jaylen Warren. all lessons to be heeded. So without making predictions, because I don't do that, it's just a feel thing here. I could see the Steelers going for that guy who will stop the Ravens from getting their 299 yards or whatever. And I could see a dynamic addition to the offense that wouldn't be a quarterback, but would be somebody, as most running backs are, who can come in and contribute right away, provided they can sufficiently teach him how to block at St. Vincent College. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't laugh that part off. They will not put you on the field without being able to block. You won't even make it out of camp. Let's do it again tomorrow.